Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to add realistic edge wear enter to your objects in Blender, making your objects look more believable and detailed. And the best part, you can do it using simple nodes directly inside Blender. So here I have a 3D model of a camera that today we are going to add these materials, because I chose this model because there are a lot of edges over here that I can use to show you guys how this method actually works. So first of all, if you guys want this blend file, you guys can download it from the link in the description, so you guys can follow along with the tutorial. And alongside with this .blend file, you guys will find all the image textures that I'm going to use in this video. So go ahead, first of all start by creating a new file. Also, this method only works in cycles, so make sure your render engine is set to cycles. You can use any device. For me, I'm going to use CPU. So the first node that we need is the bevel node, that is going to do all the work on the edges. The bevel node in Blender is a shader node used to simulate rounded edges at render time without actually modifying the actual geometry. The bevel node calculates a rounded shading normal along the intersection of surfaces, creating the illusion that edges are slightly beveled. This improves realism because in the real world, perfectly sharp edges rarely exist, and the light tends to reflect off small rounded edges. The bevel node is same as the bevel modifier, but unlike the bevel modifier, this node doesn't add extra geometry. It only changes how light interacts with the surface during rendering. So the node performs ray intersection sampling around the edge to detect nearby surfaces and averages their normals. This produces a smooth transition between faces. This node only works for cycles, not for Eevee, so make sure you guys are using cycles render engine whenever you guys are using this node. So add it and duplicate it one more time because we need two of them. In the first one, set the samples to like 8 or 12 based on your needs, and the second one, set its samples to like 2 or 4 based on your needs again, and set its radius to 0. Make sure it's set to default as it is right now, but the second one, the radius can be set to 0. Then go ahead and add a mix color node and plug the first into A and the second node into B, and then set the factor value to 1. Now I'm just going to hold down Ctrl and Shift, and when I click on this mix color node, it will unplug the principal BHDF and plug the mix color node into the material output. So I can only see these nodes that I want to preview and not the main material. So let's just go into rendered mode so we can see everything that we have right now. As you guys can see, we have these RGB lights going on over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a color ramp node over here so we can convert this into black and white colors. And now as you guys can see, we have this, and I'm going to set it to constant so we can get harsh edges, not something. If you set it to linear, you guys can see there is if I come closer, you guys can see the transition in between them. It's too smooth, but for this, in this case, we need to set it to constant because so that we can get some harsh details onto our object. Now as you guys can see, this is what we need to go with. And then come to mix color node, set its blending mode to difference instead of mix. And now you guys can see we have all the edges over here. And right now if you guys go closer, you guys can see the edge wear is not perfect like we need. It's not on all the edges, it's cutting between them. So to fix this, you can add a separate color node and place it after the mix color node, and then here set its mode to HSV, so we can just separate the hue saturation value, and instead of hue we are going to use the value. And now here you guys can see we have all the edges over here, and now we can just plug this color ramp into the metallic of our principal BHDF, and then we can use the material output node into the principal BHDF. Also we can just add another color ramp node over here, plug this one into the factor and plug this into the base color, and we can change the color of it to something like yellow, a bright yellow, something like this will be fine. And here, as you guys can see the result over here. Now if you guys want more detail on top of it, we can use an smudge texture. So press shift plus A, add an image texture over here, and to get one of these textures, what you guys can do is just go on Google and search for the texture that you guys are looking for, and you guys can download any of these. Every texture gives a different result. The one that I am going to use in this video, I'll put it in the description alongside this .blend file. You guys can download it as well. Now I'm just going to click on open. It's in my downloads folder, this one. Just click on open image, and now I'm just going to take the color and plug it into the radius section of our bevel node. Then I'm going to add these mapping nodes by pressing Ctrl plus T. Make sure the main image texture is selected, otherwise it won't work. Only our main setup. You guys can see we have some details on top of our edgeware. This is the these are the details. Now if you guys want more control over these smudges and imperfections in this image texture, we can add a map range node after the image texture node in between these two nodes, and this will allow us to change the minimum radius and the maximum radius of our bevel node easily. Just for an example, if we set it to 0.02 the minimum, and we can take the maximum value down to something like 0.5, it will make the whole thing more subtle. Just play with these nodes to complete your needs. You guys can also use it as base color instead of metallic. So I have this. Let's just change the color for now, and if we add a hue saturation node, this will allow us to change the color of our objects. And now as you guys can see, the edges are a little bit more bright and less saturated. And here if we add an ambient occlusion node alongside with a gamma and a mix color node to combine them together, make sure the hue saturation node is plugged in B instead of A, and plug this node into factor value. Then plug the ambient occlusion to this node, and in the mix color node set it to multiply instead of mix. And here let's just change the color of it to something like dirt or something, just like this. And we can also take our map range node and plug it into the distance value of our ambient occlusion node, and I'm going to set this value to 5. And as you guys can see, we have dirt over here, and you guys can increase the maximum value of our map range node in order to get more dirt, to give it more dirty look. Here as you guys can see, the edges have more dirt now. And also, even if we duplicate our object and rotate it, place it something like that, and when we go into rendered mode, here you guys can see it's also interacting with the other materials. If you guys want the final project file, you guys can download it from my Patreon completely for free, so you guys can experiment with this stuff and get your own result. So yeah, that's it for today's video. If you guys are having any issues, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye.